Israeli forces have stormed a hospital dressed as staff in the occupied West Bank, executing 3 Hamas militants. Paris police have warned farmers of blocking the city's main food market as protests over regulations and working conditions continue.
A years-long diplomatic conflict between Ukraine and Hungary took a step forward on Monday during a meeting between the country's foreign ministers.
Northern Ireland's Unionist Party has agreed to restore the region's government after a near 2-year boycott. Undercover Israeli troops have raided a hospital in the West Bank, shooting dead 3 Hamas militants inside the building. A security video shared on social media appeared to show up to a dozen armed soldiers disguised as women and male medical staff entering the Ibn Sina hospital in Jenin. They were seen running the corridors, seemingly searching for the men. Israeli Defense Force officials said the men were local Hamas leaders and that they used the hospital to hold meetings and plan attacks. Acknowledges the men were members, but says there was no exchange of fire and that they were killed unlawfully. Fighting has increasingly spread to the West Bank from Gaza. Palestinian Authority officials estimate that around 370 Palestinians have been killed and more than 6,000 have been detained by Israeli forces in the West Bank since the start of the Gaza war. France has told its farmers that any action to block access to Paris's main market for fresh food would be crossing a line, as a tractor protest made good on a threat to blockade the city for an indefinite period. Officers and armoured vehicles stationed at the Orangeries market as agricultural unions prepared to mount a siege on the French capital over an ongoing row over farming regulations, pay and taxes. Protesting farmers aim to pressure the government over the future of their industry, which has been shaken by repercussions of the war in Ukraine.
On nous impose aussi de produire de la jachère, alors qu'on nous demande de produire plus. Comment produire plus si on cultive sur une moins grande surface?
On nous a interdit certaines molécules qui sont encore autorisées en Espagne ou en Italie, et ils déversent leurs fruits sur la France, quoi. Et nous, comment on fait, quoi?
In Romania, farmers and transport workers have staged a 3-day traffic blockade over working conditions, starting with demonstrations on the streets of Brasov on Monday. As for France's neighbour Belgium, agricultural workers blocked key roads last night, including the Brussels highway, causing traffic jams during the morning rush hour.
A Pakistani court on Tuesday sentenced former Prime Minister Imran Khan and a member of parliament from his party to 10 years in prison each after finding them guilty of revealing official secrets. Both can still appeal the decision. Khan, ousted in April 2022 with a vote of no confidence by the parliament, is serving a 3-year prison sentence for another corruption case. The court's decision was announced days before the country's parliamentary elections scheduled for February 8. Khan was already barred from running due to the previous conviction. Former cricket star turned politician says the court cases against him are a conspiracy to keep him out of the elections. Pakistan has seen violent demonstrations since his arrest. Authorities have cracked down on his party and supporters. A years-long diplomatic conflict between Ukraine and Hungary took a step forward on Monday during a meeting between the country's foreign ministers. Yet, no decision has been made on Hungary's blocking of a crucial EU financial aid package for Kyiv. The meeting came as European leaders are scrambling to persuade Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán to lift his veto of 50 billion euros in aid to Ukraine that he blocked in December.
Talán nem túlzás és nem veszik tiszteletlenségnek a kollégák, ha az elvárás szót használom ebben a kontextusban, amely arra vonatkozik, hogy a 2015-ben már létezett jogaikat a magyar nemzeti közösség tagjai kapják vissza.
On January 23rd, a rocket damaged the house in which the family of Olympic figure skater Dimitri Sharpar, who died near Bakhmut, lives. This happened a year after the family received the news of Dimitri's death. Dimitri was a rising star. In 2016, he entered the top 10 at the Youth Olympic Games and has won several medals in Ukraine.
In a late-night breakthrough, Northern Ireland's main pro-British Unionist party has agreed to end its 2-year boycott of a power-sharing government with pro-Irish Republican Sinn Féin. DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson has managed to convince his party leadership to accept a British government deal on post-Brexit trading arrangements. They had been concerned that while Northern Ireland would have access to the EU's single market, the proposal would undermine the province's position within the UK. The boycott had threatened the future of the landmark Good Friday Agreement peace accord, which ended decades of sectarian violence.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announced that disposable vapes will be banned in the UK in a bid to curb youth smoking. The implementation of new regulations will limit the variety of vape flavours, implement plain packaging and alter the way vapes are presented in stores to minimise their appeal to children, according to the UK government. The move also has environmental considerations, as 5 million vapes are discharged in the UK every week. Social media platform X restores searches for Taylor Swift after pornographic deepfake images of the singer circulating online caused a temporary block. It's made her the most famous victim of a scourge that tech platforms and anti-abuse groups have struggled to fix. Researchers have said the number of explicit deepfakes have grown in the past few years, as the technology has become more accessible and easier to use. A report released showed the use of deepfakes is mainly used against women. A trial starts against the parents of a teenager who killed 10 people at a Belgrade school in 2023. The suspected shooter, 13-year-old Kosta Kekmanovic, has been held in a mental institution since the attack and cannot be held criminally liable under Serbian law because of his age. His father and mother were charged with a serious act against general safety for failing to safeguard the weapon and ammunition used in the shooting. The case has been closed to the public.
Poland's outgoing Law and Justice Party has organised another protest outside the National Prosecutor's office. The party claims the new Minister of Justice tried to forcefully take over without respecting constitutional laws.
Na podstawie siłowych metod doszło do przejęcia polskiej telewizji, mediów publicznych. Doszło następnie do siłowej próby obalenia prokuratora krajowego. Z drugiej strony widzimy absolutnie szaloną próbę pozbawienia mandatu 2 parlamentarzystów, którzy zostali ułaskawieni przez pana prezydenta. Apeluję, ażeby dokładnie przyjrzeli się, co robi liberalny rząd Donalda Tuska, bo zaczyna się w Polsce czyste bezprawie, tyrania i rządy autorytarne.
The ruling coalition has a completely different stand, and the answer to the opposition sounding the alarm is clear.
Ja w takim razie mam wiadomość dla pana posła Kaczyńskiego, który dzisiaj bez żadnego trybu też postanowił głos zabrać, że konstytucja właśnie zaczęła obowiązywać.
The Minister of Justice considers that reforms are necessary in order to depoliticize law enforcement institutions.
Ja uważam, że mówienie o dualizmie jest nie na miejscu, ponieważ jest jeden prokurator generalny. Wszystkie decyzje, które podejmuje, są absolutnie przemyślane i są zgodne z prawem. Ja zrobię wszystko, co w mojej mocy, aby doprowadzić do tego, że prokuratura będzie służyła obywatelom, to aby nie były gdzieś chowane w szafach, w garażach akta różnych spraw, które są niewygodne. Doprowadzę do tego, że prokuratura będzie działała na rzecz poszanowania zasady praworządności.
The strongly divided public is often lost in the information and interpretations of legal acts that politicians multiply and propagate.
Legal disputes between the party leaving power and the current government concern many legal acts, public institutions and positions. And this dispute will certainly not end soon. Magdalena Hodownik for Euronews from Warsaw.
Seville's official Holy Week poster is causing controversy. The poster is supposed to depict the resurrected Christ, but opinions are divided over whether the image is beautiful or inappropriate. Spanish painter Salustiano Garcia, who chose his son as the model, dismissed the criticism as unfounded. On the streets of Seville, opinions are divided.
No me gusta. Y ni me siento representada, ni mucho menos, ni eso representa a Sevilla, ni qué va, es otra cosa.
Nosotros estamos acostumbrados a otro tipo de carteles y nos ha cogido un poquito de sorpresa, pero ni lo veo bien ni lo veo mal. Veo una cosa novedosa y que no estamos acostumbrados y que estamos acostumbrados a otro tipo de carteles en la Semana Santa de Sevilla.
The eye-catching image has drawn lots of attention, going viral on social media upon its release.
The Prime Minister of Georgia, Irakli Garibashvili, resigned on Monday and said he had accepted an offer to become chairman of the Georgian Dream ruling party ahead of national elections in the autumn. Garibashvili told reporters in Tbilisi that a new parliament shall be elected in the fall and the Georgian Dream should prepare to win. The announcement came just a month after controversial billionaire Bidzina Ivanishvili, who founded Georgian Dream, returned as honorary chairman.
Hospitals across Germany have been hit by doctors demanding better pay and conditions. The Marburger Bund trade union called for some 20,000 physicians at university hospitals to take part in what was billed as a warning strike. The move comes after a third round of negotiations with federal states failed. Its members are asking for a 12.5% pay rise and higher bonuses for working nights, weekends and public holidays.